Welcome back! But how did we even get to the first start? Let's talk about tapping that block.
Now we are threaded that first loop. Now we're on to the second thread. Then the third one's gonna be the worst one. It's just difficult reaching through all of this. I really should have done this while the engine was still out of the car. I thought that it honestly would be threaded, but it's not. So that hole is right there that we need to get to. This one, I'm gonna have to drill that one out, then tap it. Do have a little bit of room in here to play with, so it's not overly bad, but I should have done this when the engine was out of the car. And that's my little mount, the one that I made out of steel. So I know 100% that one won't hold up perfectly fine. Really didn't want to swap subframes into this thing. Building this car in 2025, so there's not a whole lot of parts available anymore. And yep, like if I had an MK2 and MK3s as scrapyards, this would be a lot easier, but it's not the world we live in. All right, so great news, engine mount actually worked. Not so great news, my hole is off by around ½ an inch. So that plate is gonna come back to the shop. We're gonna re-drill that hole and mount those 2 pucks on it. I might actually get a longer rod, and I'm gonna pull the bottom bolt out. I'm gonna put this washer underneath it. It's a little copper washer, but it will give it better compression against the block.
And this was the hardest part of the build. This is what everybody's been warning me about. And honestly, this is the part that I probably had the most research with. I was using 2 different wiring diagrams as well as a 10-year-old forum posting, and basically I came up with this wiring diagram. I'll let you pause this on the screen, screenshot this. I do have the PDF, but this is basically the wiring harness of how to swap an ALH ECU and made it up to the CE2 junction box inside of the body. Now, please use this at your own risk. I'm not responsible for you casting any fireballs using this scripture right here. But I mean, it's probably gonna be the best thing you're gonna find online, because personally, I had a hard time finding any usable wiring diagram that was straightforward. There's still a couple things I need to finish on the wiring diagram, which is why it wasn't starting at the beginning of the video. But genuinely, the worst part was trying to fit those connectors back in for the CE2 for the back of it. I wasn't able to get in through the driver's side since there was a car parked really close and I didn't want to ding it. So I had to crawl into the floor, and honestly, I would say this was a little bit more comfortable than crawling in through the driver's side, just because your lower back has something to rest on. But yeah, your arms go to sleep, your elbows go to sleep. It's tight fit in there. And those 30-year-old connectors, they fight you every step of the way. They just do not want to go back in the same way. I genuinely had to chop a little piece of plastic off of them just to put them back in place, and then I zip tied them back on top so they will stay secure in place. I'm not too worried about it. That part of the car is not going to shake a whole lot, but just in case. I have the relays right next to the battery anyway. I also added an accessory power wire inside of the interior. Currently, the radio doesn't work, doesn't get signal or power, but that doesn't bother me one bit. I'll just bring a portable speaker. Let's talk about something more important. Let's talk about fuel. See, we're doing a conversion from gasoline to diesel, and I'm lazy, so I gotta crack open this fuel tank, and I gotta do it carefully without turning the whole car into a fireball. This 30-year-old plastic ring will give you nightmares. It will make you question as to why you're doing all of this in the first place. It will make you wish that the whole car actually did turn into a fireball in the very first 10 hammer swings. Funnily enough, I also had to crack open the fuel tank in the 1 Series and as well as the E30. And the E30 one was the easiest. The 1 Series, at least you can buy a new metal ring for $10, but Volkswagen wants $50 for this. $50 for a 30-year-old ring. Well, I'm sure it's brand new, but still, what a horrible design. Just bolt the tank in place. Just bolt the cover on it. Just around five bolts in a gasket. Can't be that. Can't be worse. Can't be that much cheaper to just run such a large ring, especially considering that they're asking $80 for a pop. But on a more positive note, I do have a lift pump. Yes, just a 6 psi unit ready to go in as well. The fuel lines to it. I did have to run the fuel lines twice technically, since I tried to start the engine out of a jerry can. But now the fuel lines are all in place. You'll get to see that later too. And after all of this hammering, we finally get a W.
With a stupid plastic ring.
After the explosive potential of the fuel tank, let's pivot to some good old-fashioned brute force. It's back to tightening that engine mount. I drilled that plate, drilled some hockey pucks, and honestly, it's a simple solution that gives you enough cushion and gives you enough spacing, and hockey pucks are quite durable. So putting the engine through the hockey pucks is gonna be honestly more soft than some engine mounts out there, especially the factory Corrado G60 engine mount. Another thing is you also want to eliminate the unwanted slop in the engine bay. I don't want to break the front mount that I made, and the only one that's secure really from factory is the transmission mount, since I was able to use the G60 transmission mount on this very motor. Now about getting some air into this engine. The original ALH intake had to come off. I did clean it out earlier and soak it with some Coca-Cola, but in our application, it just faces the wrong way. I was able to locate a BHW intake manifold, and it was off of my sod, so it did actually face towards the driver's side. And the flow of the BHW intake compared to the ALH is significantly better. So it was no brainer being able to replace it. I had a shop custom make me some CNC plates to delete the AGR mechanism as well as the shutter valve mechanism, and still trying to source a charge pipe for it, since the intercooler piping is all gonna have to be handmade really. This is a weird... I wish the turbo was at the front. That would make it easier. Now with the intake sorted, with the mount sorted, let's bring in the big one, the turbo. That's right, we're gonna run a VNT 1749V. It's a relatively clean little unit, new base gate, new AGR delete pipe on it, and hopefully, well, the turbo I know is in good condition. I have fuel lines going to it and from it. I just gotta tighten it in place. I was a little worried about the turbo wastegate actuator hitting on the engine mount, so I had to bend that out of place a little bit. Again, hopefully the turbo is seated quite well. I do have new gaskets running underneath it as well. I don't want any exhaust leaks, especially from a diesel. Just not only is it gonna be bad for efficiency, it's also gonna stink. And there you have it. It's a monumental leap in the build. On the next episode, we're gonna try to get it to run. We're gonna fix the wiring, and Carl's almost ready for its first drive. The brake lines are done. Please, 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 please subscribe, like this video,